I am Jeffrey St. Rose. Welcome to Enter the Poetic, a contemplative space for illumination. Episode 4, Radiant Nature. The poems featured in this episode connect with the astrology sign Taurus, sharing themes about connections with nature and communion with our beautiful Mother Earth. The 6 poems featured in this episode are The Secret Forest, Alone with the Stone, Reading the Grass with My Feet, The Great Way, Understand the Wonder, and Let Us Grow Among the Roses. The Secret Forest. Nothing will be as sudden as this flash that scatters all we have known, but brings us again to the meanings we've still yet to solve, grown out of our boundaries, though so far from what we have come to regain that can only be called our lost glory. Before the old world ends tonight, let me tell you one last time, we are gold inside, and the future is under our feet. So go into the secret forest and prepare the wild earth around you to receive your unseen beauty as the battered empires and heavenly theaters crash. From the beginning of this poem, it is apparent that some quickened event has happened, whether internal or external, that has caused an awakening, a sudden flash that scatters all we have known, but brings us into a new awareness that forces us out of old thought constructs and complacency, compelling us to resolve what is still not working in our world. Nothing will be as sudden as this flash that scatters all we have known, but brings us again to the meanings we've still yet to solve. This new awareness has brought us out of our comfort zones, but still, it isn't quite far enough to fully reclaim what it is we are here to achieve, which is described in the poem as our lost glory. These lines speak to this sentiment. Grown out of our boundaries, though so far from what we have come to regain that can only be called our lost glory. There is still more awakening that needs to happen so we can evolve back into the higher consciousness we had before entering this third dimension. This lost glory is one of spiritual sovereignty and fully reclaiming our multidimensional selves, completely reconnecting with the magnificence of our immortal souls, and manifesting that magnificence here in this world in tangible ways by building new systems that support this. The next lines speak to this remembrance. Before the old world ends tonight, let me tell you one last time, we are gold inside, and the future is under our feet. Being gold inside is a reference to our inherent value, but beyond that, it is an indivisible connection to Source and the entirety of creation. Gold, with its warmth, healing, and uplifting strength, has long been a symbol of Creator Source love, light, and wholeness. So this movement out of the old world, where we have been disconnected from each other and our true selves, is ending in order for us to reconnect with our own wholeness and embody the oneness that we all truly are. Together, we are co-creating the new earth by consciously walking a new path and developing it as we go, bringing the future into the now and making it real. The future is under our feet, so go into the secret forest and prepare the wild earth around you to receive your unseen beauty as the battered empires and heavenly theaters crash. The way to create this new world is to commune with the earth, with love and heartfelt intentionality, restoring the true wisdom of being, which is living in harmony with all things. In the poem, this communion is a sort of ceremony where a secret sanctuary is entered in nature, perhaps in an old grove of trees where the magic of the other world still lives. The old world is left behind because it is no longer viable as the corrupt empires collapse and fall. In this secret forest, we prepare the earth and ourselves for the coming changes, which include unveiling our own hidden beauty and translating that beauty into the creation of a new world. The more we feel and embody our own beauty, the more we will create beauty inside and around us. One way to begin that is to be quiet in nature, appreciating the abundance of life and beauty it freely offers, allowing it to uplift and inspire us. Alone with the stone. Unfettered flows of willows grow into the river. Bees, seeding the sweetness, finish their flying before dusk, when bats resurrect inside earth to eat the edges from death. At night, the face is erased, and no one has any name. This is the holy truth of sleep we have come to retrieve. In the soft hours, the trees grieve and speak secrets no one else remembers. Green needles brighten the branches, roots touch under the rough ruins. White flowers wrestle the castles down, towers yield to the yeasty fields. In time, the land calls back its borders and stacks. I will sit until all the world falls, alone with the stone and its crumbling stories. Continuing on the themes of the first poem, this second one brings us even more into the radiant workings of nature. We are given serene images of unfettered flows of willows growing into the river, and bees seeding the sweetness, pollinating flowers and plants for new growth, continuing the cycles of regeneration and abundance. We are also granted a look into perhaps the more secret mystical and metaphorical workings of nature, such as this image of bats resurrecting inside earth to eat the edges from death. Bats symbolize rebirth and deep inner transformation. The image of them eating the edges from death is given as a way to help us more easily engage with the topic of dying, which is only a transformation into a new state of being. The bats are eating the edges from death to make it more approachable so we aren't as frightened of it. They act as guides into this aspect of the mystery, removing the fears around dying so we can enter it straight on with full acceptance and understanding as a natural part of the universal cycle. This experience of dying is further expanded upon into the level of identity where, at night, the face is erased and no one has any name. This is the holy truth of sleep we have come to retrieve. These lines suggest that at our core we are ultimately unknowable, which is why we take on so many lifetimes and identities in order to experience all the infinite aspects of who we are. At night, we die to our daily waking identities and enter the void, or the multidimensionality of ourselves through sleep state and lucid dreaming. There are countless realms we can enter that have relevant information for us here. This is the holy truth of sleep we have come to retrieve, that we are immortal souls living innumerable journeys, all having come from the oneness, forever expanding who we are as beings of nothing and everything. Next, we are given more entrances into the hidden aspects of nature, such as trees grieving and speaking secrets no one else remembers. Trees are guardians of history, keeping archives of ancient wisdom. They are connected by shared root structures, helping us remember that we too are always connected with each other. If we commune in reverence with the trees, they may, in time, grant us some of their wisdom. In the soft hours, the trees grieve and speak secrets no one else remembers. Green needles brighten the branches. Roots touch under the rough ruins. White flowers wrestle the castles down. Towers yield to the yeasty fields. In time, the land calls back its borders and stacks. I will sit until all the world falls, alone with the stone and its crumbling stories. These final lines of the poem speak to how, in the end, nature takes everything back. Quietly and beautifully, the old castles collapse from the simple growth of small flowers just living their natural lives. Nature will continue to reclaim what we abandon, remaking the world over and over with its resilience and power, whether mighty or unassuming. I think it was the ruins of an old stone castle in Ireland by the banks of the Shannon River that inspired those lines about the white flowers wrestling the castles down. When I was there, I was struck by how these simple flowers could dismantle, bit by bit, a structure so seemingly permanent as a towering stone fortress. Most of the castle was gone. All that remained were these stony mounds, surrounded by flowers that were slowly but beautifully and peacefully consuming them. My sense was that I wanted to stay and witness the ruins of the old world being reclaimed by nature, in part to honor the old, but also to welcome in the new, as it was such a poignant emotional experience of both decay and rebirth simultaneously, and how the two work together in contrary directions for the same result, being opposite effects of the same energy. Reading the grass with my feet. Reading the grass with my feet, I have come to know holiness and the angel who breaks it. That the buttercups always rush back up is a golden reminder the world forgives after what has been trampled and scratched by our heels into belief. It has not always been loved, the bold clasping of sap on the cone, the clover so intimate with the weeds. For this the soul is given, rubbing against the root, keeping free what is deeply seen. The primary theme of this poem is redemption. The speaker is working to reconcile past patterns with an emerging spiritual consciousness. In connecting more deeply to nature, the speaker is gaining a newfound sense of reverence for Earth as an unconditionally loving mother who constantly sustains us as we mature, learning to become conscientious caretakers of this precious world. The speaker is reading the grass with his feet, an image that conveys this sense of wanting to deeply connect and know the earth in a more intimately emotional way. He feels the holiness of earth reflected back up through his feet, which gives him a new understanding of nature and its sacred consciousness. There is a beautiful communion that is happening where, in feeling the love from the earth, he realizes how he has not always been so loving and seeks to correct this by being more like the forgiving natural world he is encountering. Reading the grass with my feet, I have come to know holiness and the angel who breaks it. That the buttercups always rush back up is a golden reminder the world forgives after what has been trampled and scratched by our heels into belief. Where we unconsciously walk, Earth will eventually heal, forgiving us our mistakes and teaching us how to better live in balance and harmony with her. Humanity's beliefs over millennia have caused damage, but the Earth keeps sustaining and loving us with her abundance, regardless of what has happened. The speaker is struck by this realization as well as the purity of intent and innocence of nature. It has not always been loved, the bold clasping of sap on the cone, the clover so intimate with the weeds. We don't always recognize the importance of nature's processes. However large or small, they all have sacred significance. For this the soul is given, rubbing against the root, keeping free what is deeply seen. In these final lines, the speaker reaches an epiphany where, metaphorically, he is rubbing his soul against the root, connecting his most intimate energy with a deep part of nature symbolized as the root. This action is a commitment to keep looking purposefully into all the workings of nature, as they all have something to teach us, and to continue the communion, keeping the communication between him and the earth open, and freely sharing the wisdom he acquires from this connection, as the earth is freely sharing with him. The soul is given precisely for experiences like this, to deeply connect with everything in love and oneness. The Great Way. The great way has found us. Mountains have moved into the mind. Faces of guardian rocks watch from their lofty drops. The valleys are veiled in an ever-sensual wetness. From all the body's directions of longing, we keep returning to the places that grow us with the motion of roses. Staring into the clarity of air, we must pass through what passes through us, taken by the part of ourselves that still calls us on to the dark and dawning hills, across the crags and crofts. The great way has found us. Green silence and almost immortal stone. Having reached a stage in our evolution where we can connect in love and oneness, a new path emerges, one that opens us up even more to the vastness of the world and the cosmos. This is the great way. When we are ready to truly see and commune with the universe, the great way begins to unfold before us. The great way has found us. Mountains have moved into the mind. Faces of guardian rocks watch from their lofty drops. We start to recognize the signs that are directing us, understanding that everything is working on our behalf to assist us in evolving and expanding. There is always still much to learn, and the world is willing to guide us if we listen. The valleys are veiled in an ever-sensual wetness. From all the body's directions of longing, we keep returning to the places that grow us with the motion of roses. We keep coming back to what nourishes and sustains our souls, that which provides us with enrichment and wonder, miracles for contemplation. Our souls naturally want to keep growing, blossoming into beauty just like roses. It may be a place, a book, a song, or a visual art piece that we continue returning to because it inspires and uplifts us, offering new insights every time, and encouraging us to keep unfolding more of who we are, so in time we too can reveal all our petals. Find the path that most speaks to who you are, and it will continue to expand you. Staring into the clarity of air, we must pass through what passes through us, taken by the part of ourselves that still calls us on to the dark and dawning hills across the crags and crofts. Our invisible innermost spirit is always calling us on to new journeys, greater understandings and achievements. As more of our spirit comes into us, we become more of it, embodying it in more realized ways and using it to advance our expansion. Inspiration moves through us so we can move through that inspiration and find new wonders to behold. It is a holy co-creation. The great way has found us, green silence and almost immortal stone. When the great way finds us, it is often in silence and stillness, where we can take a moment alone to reconnect with the deepest part of ourselves that is always there, but perhaps not always recognized. It is in that moment we open in unexpected and amazing ways. Here in the poem, that moment is conveyed through an image of being in nature with its green healing silence and the steadiness of stone that is said to be almost immortal. As being something physical, it too will eventually pass away, but the feeling of the great way inside us will always stay. Understand the wonder. In the fortress of the green hild, my heart is formed and fiercely willed. I scan and delve the ageless source to open life with splendid force. The mystic dales release their scope for dreamers in poetic hope, that all the joy in just one seed will nourish every vital need. Oh, keep walking the starry lines that speak and wake unbroken shine, and go with love to understand the wild wonder of the land. As with the other poems in this podcast, this one too is about connecting with nature and learning its wisdom, but is crafted in a more light-hearted manner, mirroring the soft curves of hills and valleys with its rhythmic lines and enrhymes. In the fortress of the green hild, my heart is formed and fiercely willed. The poet is recognizing himself as already inherently being part of the land, having come from the earth, being born of it and formed by it, thus being a walking embodiment of it, living the fierce passions and resilience of nature, but in a human form. I scan and delve the ageless source to open life with splendid force. The poet is seeking to know nature at its immortal source, the energy of nature, that spiritual force behind it, in order to open up even more life for rejuvenation, regeneration, joy, enhancing delight in the beauty experienced, and to share all that as a walking extension of nature and its source. The mystic dales release their scope for dreamers in poetic hope, that all the joy in just one seed will nourish every vital need. Captivated by the magic of the land, the poet is relaying the sense that the landscapes will unfold in imaginative ways for those who are able to dream and see into the beauty, either to simply feel it or use it to create a work of art in their own way, something that equals the beauty that is there. There is something here for everyone to be inspired by and translated in various ways to help others engage with the land in order to deeply enter and inhabit it in ways that are not separate. These couplets also speak to the revitalizing forces of nature that renew and restore a heightened sense of life. Oh, keep walking the starry lines that speak and wake unbroken shine, and go with love to understand the wild wonder of the land. These final couplets encourage people to keep wandering and exploring all the magical facets of the land, the different qualities of energy and consciousness inherent in each unique place, and to do so with love in an open-hearted way that is fully able to let in all the beauty of nature, to finally understand it by falling in love with it and becoming it in oneness. The more we love something, the more it will open up to us. Let us grow among the roses. Let us grow among the roses and live within the giving, so holy in our poses, so euphoric in our spinning. It's enough to love the presence of every breathing field and magnify the essence as bewilderment one can wield. Stand in simple proffering and place the petal with the thorn, as a brave and bright offering for the wounds as yet unborn. So holy in our poses, so euphoric in our spinning, let us grow among the roses and live within the giving. Revisiting the image of a rose, this poem, written many years after the Great Way, which contains the lines, "We keep returning to the places that grow us with the motion of roses," continues the light-heartedness of the previous verse poem, "Understand the Wonder," but adds a prayerful quality of innocence and gratitude, while still recognizing the challenges to come, and also to be thankful for those as well, as they provide circumstances for further growth. Let us grow among the roses and live within the giving, so holy in our poses, so euphoric in our spinning. This stanza begins the poem with an imperative statement to inhabit the beauty, living in appreciation which brings joy and peace. This statement is also given as a request for grace. It's enough to love the presence of every breathing field and magnify the essence as bewilderment one can wield. In loving what is around us, we amplify its magic, which then in turn inspires us with more of its spirit. It is enough just to be in nature and appreciate it in all its facets, as that aligns us more with its energetic essence, which we can feel, embody, and use as a wonder that opens up even more beauty and understanding for us. Stand in simple proffering and place the petal with the thorn, as a brave and bright offering for the wounds as yet unborn. In this stanza we have the image of the petal and thorn together, which symbolizes polarity and opposites living in balance with each other as they both work together for the greater evolution. The beauty and the hardships both assist us in connecting with more of who we are. So the two are offered together as a way of honoring both and how, though operating differently, they help us evolve. The speaker knows there will still be challenges ahead and is already grateful for them, as he knows in the end, once he moves through them, he will be stronger, wiser, more compassionate, and more capable of continually embodying his own sovereignty. So holy in our poses, so euphoric in our spinning, let us grow among the roses and live within the giving. The final stanza begins with the last two lines of the first stanza, changing the placement as a way to reiterate the sentiment and provide an ending cadence, as well as to emphasize the idea of living in peace, balance, and harmony with nature by being grateful for all the daily abundance and nourishment we receive. It is a kind of full circle moment where, contrary to the first stanza, which emphasizes the holy poses and euphoric spinning as being direct results of living in balance with nature's plenty, here the holy poses and euphoric spinning come first, creating even more of a desire to live in harmony with nature because of the open-heartedness it naturally generates. Each action in turn amplifies the other in a circular pattern that resembles spinning and has its own energetic effect, much like a vortex. In the opening of the poem, the living in grace and gratitude has created a sort of euphoria that seems to compel an equal motion, such as dancing, as the body is naturally responding to the abundance of joy. And now that dancing has re-inspired a commitment to continue to live in grace and gratitude, so each action fulfills and magnifies the other in a beautiful ongoing cycle. Thank you for listening. May you always live peacefully in grace.